What is up, YouTube? What's going on, fellow fantasy people? And of course, what is up, the Catch fam? We already know what time it is, man. We're rolling into another mock draft. We've got an 8-man league with the 8th overall selection on Yahoo in a PPR scoring format. Excited as ever to hop into another one with you guys. Go ahead and smash that like button if you guys do find this helpful or entertaining in any way. And man, we are on the road to 100 subscribers here at the Catch. Go ahead and hit the sub button. We're rolling out all kinds of fantasy advice, all kinds of NFL updates throughout the regular season. So go ahead and hit the sub button, man. I know what y'all are waiting for. You know you need a little bit of the catch in your life day in and day out. Go and drop some comments down below on what you guys think of this draft overall. But of course, let me know in the comments as well what type of mock drafts and what type of content you guys need to see to help you in your personal fantasy leagues for the upcoming 2021 football season. So let's hop right into it as the first overall selection is about to happen. So we've got kind of that snake eyes pick where we can go back to back here. So I'm going to bounce around here. I'm not going to go anytime I do an 8-man mock draft. I feel like I go so RB heavy because he can just pick up so many good running backs. But we're going to bounce around a little bit here and go RB receiver, maybe get a tight end and QB early, just to add a lot of value to this roster. Just pick essentially the best overall players available. As we see Devontae Adams, a guy I was just thinking about when I said that, taken with the 4th overall selection. I can't knock someone for going out and making Devontae Adams a top 5 pick, but that guarantees that we will get Ezekiel Elliott, Nick Chubb, or Aaron Jones, and then we can target that of either Tyreek Hill or Stephon Diggs as well. And man, has Tyreek Hill looked good in the preseason, but what do you expect? He's arguably the best receiver in the league. My co-host Steven has him ranked #1, and now we see D-Hop off the board. I mean, man, if you want your #1 receiver and you think it's DeAndre Hopkins, I'm not going to argue with it, man. I mean, D-Hop could have as good of a year as a guy like Devontae Adams or Stephon Diggs or Tyreek Hill, right? I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, you could argue, is the best receiver in the league. I mean, like I said, you could argue all of those points, right? So this is going to be really interesting because if our guy Paul does not like Ezekiel Elliott, then we might get Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, yeah, I was about to say, I don't think that's going to happen, but nonetheless, I'm going to add Nick Chubb to this roster. It's very hard for me not to take Aaron Jones here and go RB heavy, right? But we said we're going to play around a little bit, so let's add Tyreek Hill. Let's shore up the receiver position, and what a good start to this draft with Nick Chubb and Tyreek Hill on this roster. So now we've got 14 more selections until we pick, and I think we're going to be able to add 2 really good players at 24 and 25. I think we might have a chance to get Patty Mahomes and pair him with Tyreek Hill. It's really hard, man. If I go out and get one of these Chiefs players early, like a Tyreek Hill or a Travis Kelce, it's really hard for me to not go out and get Patrick Mahomes, or at least target Patrick Mahomes as well, just because I mean, the amount of points that the combination of those 2 players are going to put up is going to be absolutely insane and a great value to your roster overall. So it's really hard for me not to go and target those guys. But as we've seen Travis Kelce, Jonathan Taylor, and Stephon Diggs off the board, I definitely want to potentially go out and target Darren Waller here, who's ranked 23rd. So we might not be able to select him as we have the 24th overall selection, but Patrick Mahomes definitely a top target here. We'll kind of just sit back and wait because we have 10 more selections, and we know that we can get a stud tight end like a Darren Waller or a George Kittle, or we can go with another running back or another receiver. But nonetheless, there goes Patrick Mahomes with the 16th pick. So I'm telling you, man, it's like every time that I try and target Patrick Mahomes, he is not falling to us. People are going out and targeting Patrick Mahomes and seeing what will happen in mock drafts if they take him in the 1st or 2nd round. And I mean, this was the 3rd round technically, right? But nonetheless, people want Patrick Mahomes on their roster. They're not afraid to go out and draft him 16th overall, 10th overall, 20th overall, whatever it may be, right? And I certainly don't blame them. So, nonetheless, let's kind of start evaluating things now that Patty Mahomes is off the board. I mean, we can still go out and get one of the best tight ends in the league. We can get a George Kittle, potentially a Darren Waller. Let's see what receivers are available. I mean, a lot of good wide receivers available. And we know that we have Tyreek Hill to lead this offense. So I know I said I wasn't going to go RB heavy, but actually think that the best value on the board right now is at the running back position with David Montgomery and James Robinson sitting there, because I think there's a pretty big drop off after those guys are off the board. And I think with us having a guy like Tyreek Hill, I mean, the depth at receiver is so deep in 8-man leagues that I don't know if I'm ready to really panic at the receiver position, especially with us having Tyreek Hill to really lead that roster spot on this offense, right? But if a guy like Justin Jefferson slides out of here, I'd definitely consider him. And then Allen Robinson sitting there would be another fantastic selection as well. So that's the thing with 8-man leagues. There's going to be a lot of good players available to draft. Going to be a lot of good players who don't get drafted. And going to be a lot of good players on the waiver wire each and every week, as well as your bench each and every week. So it does present a unique challenge in that aspect. So I'm pretty positive that Justin Jefferson is going to get selected here, or he would be absolutely our top target, right? But nonetheless, we're probably going to target that of Darren Waller if he does not get selected here, and then either David Montgomery or James Robinson. You guys have heard me say this a lot now. I view them both in very similar fashion overall, and I think that they're both on relatively questionable offenses, but I think that they're going to perform well in their respective offenses. So, hey, if it wasn't for that ankle injury to that of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he would be my top pick here. But I just don't know, man. I just don't know. I'm staying away from him for now. So let's add Darren Waller and let's turn around. I mean, it's really your pick, right? James Robinson or David Montgomery. Let's roll with James Robinson for the sake of this mock draft. And then let's move right along, man. Let's just sit back. 14 more selections until we pick, and we know that we're going to be able to shore up two very good players as well, regardless of position. I mean, we've got a lot of good value on this roster, right? I mean, we've got Darren Waller, Tyreek Hill, and two stud running backs, in my opinion. So now we're just going to sit back. I mean, I picked 40 and 41. There's going to be a lot of good players available and a lot of good wide receivers as well. So I'm not stressing whatsoever at the wide receiver position. Josh Jacobs will probably be available down there as well. We don't have a quarterback, but I don't think we need to necessarily panic about the quarterback position just yet. Let's see after those next two selections where we are picking from 56 and 57. I think you can get pretty good quarterbacks at that point in time. So we will just keep sitting back and see what happens here as we see A.J. Brown, Clyde Edwards-Helaire both off of the board. And we will just, like I just said, just keep on waiting. I mean, that's kind of the thing. Can't really start a queue when you have 12 picks until your turn. I mean, you can, sure, but we're going to see a lot of good talent wiped off the board in the end of this fourth round as well as the fifth round. So I just don't know if it's necessarily feasible to really start queuing up a lot of players here. But nonetheless, I mean, David Montgomery is still sitting here. Allen Robinson just got selected. Very unlikely that David Montgomery falls to us. But let's just go ahead and start looking at some players as we see Chris Carson off the board in that 40 to 50 range, right? So Josh Jacobs and DJ Moore, kind of my top guys. I mean, DJ Moore is such an easy strength of schedule and the presumed wide receiver one in that offense. We still have our picks at quarterback between Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray sitting there. So two very elite quarterbacks we could potentially add to this team as well. But I think adding these two skill position players is really going to benefit this offense. And I still think in the seventh and eighth round, we can go out and get a pretty elite quarterback overall as we see Josh Allen off the board. So I do expect some quarterbacks to begin to be selected as we've also seen George Kittle here taken in the fifth round. So it's definitely possible that we see a little bit of a run at the tight end position, but we've secured our tight end in that of Darren Waller. I mean, the thing with tight ends and 8-man leagues is you can stay away from the position for some time and still end up with some very valuable late round tight ends. But you can also go out early and get a guy like Darren Waller and then just not stress about it. So kind of give and take there, right? We're coming up three more selections until we pick, and I'm still standing by DJ Moore and Josh Jacobs. If one of them gets selected, then we've still got those two quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray. We've got guys like Robert Woods, Mike Evans. I mean, David Montgomery is sitting here for crying out loud. Robert Woods could be potentially available as well. I mean, if David Montgomery falls to us, I think he's going to get selected But if he falls to us, and we're absolutely 100% taking him, as Lamar Jackson is off the board. But I think us. It looks like Paul is on auto draft. I'm not exactly sure. Sometimes he might actually be drafting. Hard to say. And yeah, he got David Montgomery. I was going to say I don't think that's going to happen, but nonetheless, a wonderful value at pick 39 in that of David Montgomery. So let's go out and get our guys and DJ Moore and Josh Jacobs. Just shore up the skill position players there, and then we will look to the quarterback position with our coming selection here in round 7. I mean, I think a guy like Dak Prescott could certainly be available as we now see Kyler Murray off the board. So definitely heating up at the quarterback position. I expect a relatively big run, but I mean, Justin Herbert, probably the top guy I would want to get here. I mean, including Dak Prescott, but I think Dak Prescott and Russell Wilson have a higher likelihood of being drafted before we pick. But nonetheless, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers are still going to be sitting there as well. So plenty of depth left at the quarterback position. I do think in 8-man leagues, it's certainly okay if you want to go out and get a guy early as we see Dak Prescott off the board. But I do think that you can also kind of hold off at the quarterback position to still end up with a lot of good talent. And keep in mind that at the end of your draft, you're definitely going to have an opportunity to go out and get kind of a sleeper guy or a rookie guy, a Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, right? Type of player, as we have seen Aaron Rodgers now selected. So I don't know, maybe I was wrong, but I mean, I'm telling you, Justin Herbert's here, Tom Brady's here, Jalen Hurts is here. So still a lot of good players at the position there. Amari Cooper is sitting here, someone who I feel like I've been sleeping on all offseason / preseason. Amari Cooper is a fantastic player. There's certainly a lot of firepower at the receiver position with the Dallas Cowboys, kind of similar to like the Pittsburgh Steelers or even the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where there's a couple guys that present a lot of good value, like the Rams, another good situation there, right? But I certainly think that Amari Cooper is not someone that should be slept on. I do think he's going to have a very productive year overall, as we now see Russell Wilson off the board. So if Amari Cooper slides here, I think he's the best available talent. But if he does not get picked, I mean, Miles Sanders is sitting here, Julio Jones is sitting here, and we still want to go out and target a quarterback. But I'm sitting here just kind of thinking we might be able to get by with moving on into the 9th round with no quarterback. I think that we can still go out and get a guy like a Ryan Tannehill and then go out and get a good sleeper position. But I don't know, man. I mean, only one more selection until we pick. Amari Cooper is still sitting here. Julio Jones, Adam Thielen. I mean, my guy Jerry Judy's down there. So, yeah, let's stick to our gut. Let's pick Amari Cooper. I think he's the best talent on the board. And then, yeah, let's add Julio Jones, and that just gives us some sure firepower at the receiver position. Absolutely loaded. Tyreek Hill, DJ Moore, Amari Cooper, and Julio Jones. And we feel very confident at the running back position with Nick Chubb, James Robinson, and that of Josh Jacobs, as well as an elite tight end and that of Darren Waller. So, feeling very good overall about this draft, but we do want to go ahead and start to look at, we should have, let's see, 4 more players, I believe, that we can select. So we do want to add at least one more running back that we're confident in. So I'm going to queue up that of Ronald Jones the second. And then, I mean, if Mike Davis falls to us, I think he's worth the selection. But let's go ahead and check some of these other positions. Let's add a couple tight ends that we're confident in. So doesn't look like this has been updated per se. But with Irv Smith Jr. dealing with that injury, the Vikings have gone out and traded for Chris Herndon, who I think is actually a pretty good sneaky value in deeper leagues. So, I mean, Chris Herndon has shown some really good potential in fantasy football in earlier years. So, I don't know, man. Kirk Cousins likes to target the tight end position. I haven't been very big whatsoever on Irv Smith Jr. just because he hasn't proven in a full year. So I've been kind of staying away from him, right? But nonetheless, I think that if you're wanting to get a tight end on the Vikings, that maybe Chris Herndon is worth a selection, especially in deeper leagues. So let's go ahead. I haven't been paying attention too much to who's being selected. Justin Herbert still on the board. Tom Brady on the board. Jalen Hurts and Ryan Tannehill all available. So we have made it here into the end of the 9th round, top of the 10th, with some quarterbacks we really like still available. Jerry Jeudy just got selected, someone who I was starting to eye in this mock draft. I think that Mike Davis is a guy that we'd really like to go out and get here. We could add another receiver like Deontay Johnson, Robbie Anderson sitting there. We probably wouldn't want both DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. You could consider it, right? But Brandon Ayuk is sitting here, a really good talent, and we're moving into the 72nd overall pick. Adam Thielen sitting there as well. I don't know if I can pass up those guys as deep as we are already at the wide receiver position. I don't know if it's necessary, right? But I don't know, man. We might be able to move into the 11th round and still get a quarterback that we really like and just be absolutely loaded at the wide receiver position. And I don't know, man. Can we pass up this all this talent, right? I think we need another running back. I think that adding Mike Davis makes the most sense here. And then we've got Brandon Ayuk and Adam Thielen sitting here. I mean, dude, that's insanity to me. I mean, that's really good overall talent. Let's just add that of Adam Thielen and let's see if we can move into the 11th round with one of those quarterbacks that we really want on this team. That was crazy, man. I mean, the fact that Brandon Ayuk and Adam Thielen were sitting there, a lot of really good talent. I mean, we certainly do not need another wide receiver on this team. We are freaking loaded. Tyreek Hill, DJ Moore, Amari Cooper, Julio Jones, and Adam Thielen. I mean, I know this is an 8-man league and everything, but that is pretty absurd at the wide receiver position. We still feel very confident with Nick Chubb, James Robinson, Josh Jacobs, and now Mike Davis at the running back position. So now the question is, I mean, we still have two more bench players to fill. And we still need a quarterback on this team, right? And I mean, I would like to target Ronald Jones here with this upcoming pick, but we really want to get Justin Herbert on this squad, right? If we don't get Justin Herbert, then Tom Brady is absolutely the next selection. Um, and I don't know. We could also add a guy like Jalen Hurts. We could wait a little bit and get a Ryan Tannehill as Justin Herbert was just selected. So that makes Tom Brady my next top target. And I mean, I really like Jalen Hurts as well. I mean, yeah, he has been named the QB1 and he's going to be the starter, but I never really saw any other situation play out as Tom Brady's off the board. So we took the risk of not selecting a quarterback in the last like 4 rounds, and maybe it hasn't paid off, but I still think we're going to get a valuable quarterback. Excuse me. And like I stated earlier, in 8-man leagues, you can basically count on getting a sleeper quarterback of your choice, a rookie quarterback, whatever it may be. They're probably going to be available just because there are more players available overall at each position at the end of an 8-man mock draft. So don't stress out too bad about the quarterback position in 8-man mock draft, especially when you look at how many loaded receivers and running backs you can get on your squad. This is a good example, especially at the receiver position, but I still think we have 4 very solid running backs and an absolutely amazing value at the tight end position. So 2 more selections until we pick. So Tom Brady has been selected, right? So we're kind of sitting here at the quarterback position. I mean, do we want to go out and draft 2 guys? It's definitely something we could consider in adding both Jalen Hurts and Ryan Tannehill to this roster. I mean, we might be able to go into the 13th round with just Jalen Hurts and still be able to get Ryan Tannehill. I don't know. Let's add Jalen Hurts to this roster. Let's add Ronald Jones the second to this roster, and now we still have one more bench player to get. I mean, honestly, I like Jalen Hurts a lot, right? But overall, I would like to add another quarterback to this team as we haven't seen Jalen Hurts in a full year. But man, I'm telling you, Jalen Hurts really reminds me, the way he's being evaluated really reminds me of how Kyler Murray was evaluated, coming into the second year. And I think that Jalen Hurts has the opportunity to be an absolute breakout player. And I think nonetheless, he's going to be at least a top 12 quarterback, if not better this year. So we will kind of sit back. I mean, we want to target Ryan Tannehill here, but if not, I mean, I think that Robert Tonyan is a great selection as well. And then if not, we can always pick up Matthew Stafford to give us more depth. But there's going to be a lot of good quarterbacks available. And then we do need to go ahead and add. Just want to go and scoop my face over and just make sure I counted everything right. Yeah, we only have one more bench player. So nonetheless, we will just kind of keep evaluating things as we see Baltimore's defense off the board. I think we can actually end up with a pretty good defense on this team. I mean, the Colts are sitting here. I mean, it's an 8-man league. You're going to get a good defense no matter what, right? So, I mean, a lot of the top defenses have already been taken off the board, but I think that there's a lot of good. I don't know why I'm queuing all these defenses up. I could just look at them when this pick comes up in 7 more selections. But nonetheless, we're going to add a second quarterback to this squad, whether it's Matt Stafford or Ryan Tannehill. And both of them got selected, then oh well. We roll with Jalen Hurts. We add Robert Tonyan to this roster if he's available as well. And then we just kind of wait things out and see which one of those sleeper / rookie QB steps up the soonest, whether it's Mac Jones or if it's a Teddy Bridgewater. Then we just add them to our roster as we now see Robert Tonyan off the board, so he's not an option. But my top guy here, definitely Ryan Tannehill. I think probably the safest quarterback in fantasy football this year. The best ceiling / best floor combination that you're going to see at the quarterback position. So I'd be very happy if he fell to us here. And then we'll just get a defense, and then we'll let a kicker fall to us and probably just break down the roster while we're waiting for a kicker. But nonetheless, still 4 more picks until we make a selection now with 3 more picks. But we know now with 3 more selections that we have a better chance of getting a player that we really like, whether it's Antonio Brown, and there goes Ryan Tannehill, man. What a bummer. But we could go out and get a Devonta Smith. I mean, we could get a Mike Gesicki. There's a lot of different options here, but I still think that going out and getting a Matt Stafford is probably the best thing to do here. Just giving Jalen Hurts some support at the quarterback position. If we did see Matt Stafford selected, which we just did, then yeah, we could add a Trevor Lawrence. We could add a Joe Burrow. But why not just wait it out, right? I mean, like I just said, definitely we could wait this out. I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster sitting here, Corey Davis. I mean, there's still a lot of good talent. Let's just, actually, I'm going to add a second tight end. Why not? Let's just end the night with Mike Gesicki. Give Darren Waller some support, and then let's pick Miami's defense just to go along with the theme of Mike Gesicki. And nonetheless, a very, very well-rounded roster. And like I said, we could wait things out if we truly wanted support at the quarterback position. We went out and we got a very good talent out of Mike Gesicki. So let's break down the roster, man. We got Jalen Hurts at the quarterback position. I am very happy with that selection, although I would have liked to give him some support since we have not seen him in a full year. But like I said, I think he has potential to have an absolutely fantastic year from a standpoint of passing and running the football. So we are happy with that selection. At the wide receiver position, absolutely loaded. Tyreek Hill, DJ Moore, Amari Cooper, Julio Jones, and Adam Thielen. I feel very confident in the receivers on this squad. At the running back position, also very confident. We got Nick Chubb, James Robinson, Josh Jacobs. 3 guys that I'm very high on that I have seen some hesitancy around in the fantasy community, but I like those guys. I don't feel scared whatsoever. And then we have some good support on the bench in that of Mike Davis and Ronald Jones II. So I also feel very good about the bench players, right? At tight end, we have an absolute great value in that of Darren Waller, then a good support player in that of Mike Gesicki. And then at the defensive position, we have that of the Miami Dolphins defense. We could have picked the Colts. They're still available at this given moment. But nonetheless, we will see what kicker falls to us. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. I truly, truly appreciate all the support that Steven and I have gotten over the past couple of weeks, over the past month. We truly, truly appreciate all of the Catch fam. And with that said, we are on the road to 100 subscribers here at the Catch. So go ahead and hit the sub button. It truly means the world to us. Truly helps out the channel tremendously. And of course, we are going to be pumping out a ton more fantasy content all throughout the season and a ton of NFL updates, NFL debate, as well as our annual The Catch podcast as well. So we've taken a little bit of a step back from the podcast just to make sure we are pumping out as much fantasy content as we can. Because everyone's mock drafts, right? Not mock drafts. Actual drafts have happened, or they are about to happen. We want you guys to have as much fantasy resources as possible. But nonetheless, go ahead and hit the sub button, man. Go ahead and hit the like button. That truly gives us that nice boost in the YouTube algorithm. And of course, drop some comments down below with what you guys need to see for your personal draft. And with that said, let's pick a kicker. Man, you know who I'm rolling with. Rodrigo Blankenship, my freaking favorite kicker in the league. And with that being said, once again, I thank you all very much for watching and or listening as always. And remember, you saw it here on The Catch.